Hi everybody, I'm Joey Paul and I'm an indie author and welcome back to my channel. I write adult fiction across a variety of genres, and if you think that might interest you, and then think about subscribing below. Since the last two videos I did in this series were so well received, I thought I would expand it and do another one about the chronic ill / disabled life and the author life. A couple of weeks ago I did Planning While Chronically Ill, which I will link up in the cards. As always, just want to make it clear that I am far from the only chronically ill and or disabled authortuber out there, and I just wanted to give some tips and such that might help others either in the community or in my audience. Being an author is tough enough without having to add the hurdles that come from being chronically ill and or disabled. I say it like that because just because somebody is chronically ill, it doesn't mean they're disabled, and just because someone's disabled, it doesn't mean that they're chronically ill. So with that out of the way, let's jump into it. Number 1. It's okay to say no to things. There are going to be times when you can't say yes. I mean, you'll want to, but your body is very much saying nope. And while there is this idea that we should always be hustling and getting ourselves out there, there has to be a limit to what you can healthily manage. Back when I first started doing signings, I didn't realise just how much they would take out of me. Of course, I knew enough to know that I would need the extra day's rest at the hotel, but I didn't really clock just how drained I would be, especially if I decided to go to the evening do at the end of the signings. They're a great experience, and I've only had positive experiences when it comes to accessibility and the like, but there is a limit on how much time I can spend sat up and engaging with people. Introverts in my audience might be nodding along with me there, but it's not just a case of being introvert, but also the chronic fatigue and pain that come along with being me. So I had to learn that it was okay to say no to some of them. While I loved the experience, it just wasn't something that I could do over and over, even with a few weeks or a month or so between them. They were rarely near home, so it was always having to decamp to a hotel and hope that my energy levels held. This doesn't just apply to author events, but to everything in the author life. People ask why I don't rapid release. This is why. I can't manage to do all that editing and promo and the like without a break. In 2019 I did 3 releases, and that really set me back chronic illness wise. So from one chronically ill indie author to another, and to all those watching, you're allowed to say no. You're allowed to set your own schedule, and it's okay if that means not doing certain events, or even juggling several different social media accounts, or anything that comes with being an author. Your health has to come first, and anyone saying differently doesn't have your best interests at heart. Number 2. Juggling the hats is hard. There are a lot of hats that come along with being indie, but there are also a lot for traditional authors as well. I won't go into detail here because I don't have that experience, but when it comes to things like marketing and promo, traditional authors still have to get that done. When I first started publishing, way back when, it was a lot of lead work to get my debut out to people, out to booksellers and in people's gaze. I did radio interviews and magazine articles and all of that, and I had to do a lot of it on my own. It's not all that different now, except there's social media to help me, which there wasn't to that level back in 2005. That's only the marketing and promo side of things. There's also the drafting and the editing and the revision and the hiring people to do bits and pieces for you. It's hard work for any author, but when you add in chronic illness on top, you'll find it doubly hard because you kind of need to juggle a lot of these to be able to successfully publish. Now, if you have the spare money, you can hire PR companies and arrange for them to do some of the heavy lifting. But if you're not someone with the cash to do that, some or all of it is going to fall in your lap. And it's hard. That's not me whining about it, it's just the honest truth. It is hard to juggle that while also having to deal with chronic illness, or chronic pain, or needing to nap, or any other number of symptoms. And don't get me started on having to deal with the hospital / doctor stuff you have to do as well. And it's okay to admit that. It's okay to acknowledge that. It's okay to say, this is hard and I'm struggling. It's okay to need help in whatever form that comes, whether it's someone who'll take over the social media side of things, or whether that's cutting down on posts on certain social media, or only doing things in stages. It's okay to find it hard to juggle all of that, and no one should judge you for it. Number 3. Sometimes you have to miss deadlines. I know that there is a lot of pressure when it comes to deadlines. I chose the indie path because I knew I couldn't cope that well with deadlines that weren't at least slightly flexible. There are going to be times when you have to miss them, and that's okay, and anyone telling you differently is wrong. The way I find that works for me is to make sure that there is some wiggle room with deadlines. Like, I'm in the midst of starting the first professional editing cycle I've done in a year, and it's hard to keep on top of drafting while also doing edits and such. But I've built in days off. I've left some wiggle room so that if things get really bad, I can skip days here and there. And I've told myself that that pressure can be released, that it's okay if I don't get everything done perfectly to every deadline. This again doesn't just apply to disabled and or chronically ill people. It can also be true for those abled and healthy. Like sometimes you just have to let the deadline go and move past getting things done in time. Life is hard on its own without worrying about something that you might not have much control over. So be kind to yourself and remember that just because it's a deadline doesn't mean that the world will end if you don't get it done in time. Number 4. You don't always have to be on. Okay, this is a big one for me. I know that because of Authortube and because of Insta stories and the like, people have this assumptions about me that I might not necessarily be true. That I'm positive and upbeat and always happy to do this or that. I can be positive, yes, but I'm not always happy or upbeat. I have mental health issues and I'm just starting to get to the point where I'm okay sharing the bad days. I started in March, I think it was, doing a Monday post on Instagram that recapped the past week mentally, physically and emotionally. And it's my way of showing that I'm not always on. I'm not always the person you see in the videos. If you could see me when I'm not on camera, you would get a much more well-rounded view of me. But that's the thing to remember. Just because you're an author and therefore a public figure, you don't have to always be on. You can let your hair down, you can relax and be true to who you are. I say it like that and it sounds like I'm being fake when I'm on camera, which I'm not. It's just that I'm not sharing every little moment with you. I hope that makes sense. Someone once told me that social media is the highlights reel of someone's life, and that's very true. Not just for me, but most people only post the good things and maybe a little of the bad, depending on the context. My point is that even though you're an author, you don't have to be on every moment of every day. There are going to be times when you're struggling with health issues and the like, and if you want to share that, you very much can. But if you don't, that's okay too. You don't have to be somebody's inspiration and you don't have to act like you're always in the best of moods and everything else. Pain sucks. Chronic illness sucks. There are going to be times when you're really struggling and it's okay if your answer to that is just to not post. No one can judge you for it. And number 5. Breaks are a thing. That's okay. You know it wouldn't be a video by me if I didn't sneak this one in. I have long been an advocate for writers and authors, those chronically ill and or disabled, and abled and healthy too, to take breaks when you need to. There are too many times when I see authors sucked up into hustle culture. I even did a video about it, which I will link up in the cards. You don't have to be pushing yourself for every hour of every day to be successful. I don't mean that you don't have to work hard, but that everyone's circumstances are different and everyone needs different levels of time off, and that's okay. But if you're an author and you're also juggling illness and or disability, then life is on super hard mode already. You don't need to make it worse for yourself. You can take breaks. They can be as long or as short as you need, and anyone telling you that doesn't make you valid as a writer or author is wrong. Taking breaks doesn't negate what you do, what you've done, and what you will do. It's okay to take the time you need to recharge, and I will die on this hill if I have to. So there we go, those are my thinkings about author life while being chronically ill and or disabled. Being an author is hard work, not just for those with chronic illness and or disability, but also for just randomly being an author. But I wanted to focus on the chronic illness and or disability side of things because I don't feel like it's talked about enough. I feel like too much of the time people expect chronically ill and or disabled people to stay up at the level abled and healthy people are at, and it's just not always possible. It's just not. You have to do what works for you. If that means taking breaks, if that means taking literal years to write your book and get it published, that's okay. So if you want to see more in this series, please let me know below what you'd like me to talk about next, and I hope that you've enjoyed them. So that's all I've got time for today. If you want to support my channel, you can comment, like or subscribe. I post new videos on Thursdays. You can find me all over social media and my books are available everywhere. And don't forget to pick up Lights Off, which is the third in Young Adult Dystopian trilogy, and also don't forget to grab a ticket for All the City in Birmingham in July 2023, where I'll be signing books. All the links to which are listed below. Thanks for watching, and remember to keep writing. Bye.